values. Within that, a bit of a paradox. We celebrate the differences as well.
If I may jump in there for you, Mrs. Goldberg, we've spoken often about classroom sizes and class sizes.
Yes.
What can parents expect when looking at a primary school?
Okay, so in the primary school environment, between grade 1 and grade 7, we don't have a class that's more than 20 children in a class at the moment. Something that one must bear in mind is that we're lucky enough in our grade 1 classes to have a qualified teacher as well as a full-time assistant, which is amazing, because then you get a 10-to-1 ratio. And then in our grade 2 environment...
Do you want to say that again? 10-to-1 ratio.
Yes. So as I say, there are two adults, one fully qualified assistant teacher, and the other one is busy studying at the moment. So there are 2 educational adults in each grade 1 class, and then in the grade 2 class there's one additional, also qualified teacher who works as a support between both grade 2 classes. We also have that in the pre-primary. But while we're talking about numbers, I just have to bring in here that 3 days a week, my grade 1s and 2s are playing sport. It's compulsory, it's part of their day. So 3 days a week they will play sport, also in a 10-to-1 ratio, learning tennis or large ball sports. And then on the 4th day of the week, they are doing either drama or board games.
Amazing.
So that's also in a 10-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. As we continue this evening, we'd just like to say hello to Dr. Tanya, Romy, Alzan, Kim, and Mariska, who are watching. Thank you so much for leaving a comment in the comment section. If you're still watching with us and have any questions, any comments that you would love to leave in the comment section, we'd love to encourage you to do that. For either Mr. Kurz or Mrs. Goldberg, we'd love to reply to you this evening. Mr. Kurz, I interrupted you there slightly. No. Just in a similar vein, in the high school, small classes, I think one of the things I've heard you talk about the most, often the conversations we're having is around marketing and how to have a marketing slant to everything that we're doing on social media. What story are we telling? You've mentioned Schools with Heart being a vital part of the school. The number one thing you always come back to is just how important and how valuable your teaching staff is and your teachers, and how the pupils always come back to their relationship with their teachers.
Absolutely, Dean. I mean, you were asking me earlier, what is core for me, or what is a central fact for me, and I have to say that our teaching staff is our biggest asset, and I talk for the high school and I talk for the primary and the pre-primary as well. And I have to say, at Theodor, we are blessed with the most wonderful complement, professional, nurturing, and again, it's the small school. Apart from the quality of the staff that we have, it's the nurturing that allows the staff to be nurturing. So, I mean, for me, what is central is the relationship between staff, parents and children. And in a small school environment, so just to echo what you're saying, Hilary, I mean, at the high school, our biggest grade is 41. That's our current grade 10s, but every grade is split into 2. So the very biggest class is 20 at the high school. The average size class is 15 in a grade, looking at between 32, 33 to 37. So in a small grade, small class, you can nurture those relationships. You can nurture the relationships between the parent and the teacher and the pupil. And we as a school, and I talk on behalf of you as well, Hilary, we are very accessible as staff to parents and children. We are very accessible.
I've heard both of you talk about knowing every pupil by name. And being in that position to be able to have that kind of relationship, which overflows to the rest of the teachers and overflows to the parents' relationships with yourselves.
For sure.
I know, Hilary, forgive me, I think it's Wednesdays.
Yes.
I mean, would you like to tell us where did that come from? What is,
I just decided we need more. I call them morning eyes. So every morning there's a teacher who stands outside at the wooden gate and is just there to welcome the children. But I started Wednesday hugs. I love to hug. I'm a hugger. So I just started hugging all the children when they came in. And the sweetest thing was one of the children, they were videoing, what do you like about your school? And she said, I like Wednesdays because I get to hug Mrs. Goldberg.
Yeah.
But they can hug me anytime they like, but I do stand outside. And
Yeah.
I even have some moms and some moms and dads asking for hugs. So we're
Right.
quite accessible.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful, and that doesn't go unnoticed. Like you're saying, from a marketing background, in some of the conversations and work that gets done with some of the young people, even asked, what are some of the highlights of your school? Those are some of the things that come out.
The teachers, yeah, they feature prominently the answer. What do you love about Theodor? They will say, we love the staff. We love the staff.
And that was going to be my next question to you, Mr. Kurz, is some of the post-matriculants and past pupils, almost 99% of the time, refer to the relationships that they had with their teachers. What do you think are some of those values, or what's the unique spirit that you think exists at Theodor that makes students want to say that?
I think, I mean, Hilary was also coming here as well. I mean, you've got a history here as well with both your children having been here. I would say that it is the fact that we celebrate. No child will be lost at Theodor Herzl. I mean, figuratively speaking, you will never get lost. You will be recognized for what your talents are. We will bring out the best version of yourself. We're not going to box you. Obviously, there are boundaries and there are norms and there are values and expectations, but no child is going to be boxed here. And I think it's the fact that when I say they're allowed to be themselves, obviously there are boundaries and there are expectations, but they will leave matric, and that is our wish, being the best versions of themselves, and we encourage that in all that we do and attempt to do.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have had both of my children matriculate through Theodor, but even their friends and seeing the children. I mean, I've been here, I think it's 15 years now, and seeing these children flourish and thrive. I almost want to say it's a guarantee that your child will be the best that they can be. They need to take the opportunities. There's so much to do. There's so much to grow, within what's offered. And in my heart, I know that the children have the best opportunity to be the best that they can be as individuals.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. I mean, whether the best that they can be, that is. If that's in the academic arena, if it's in the sporting arena, if it's in the cultural arena, that's where we will grow them. And I mean, whether it's so sport is compulsory for our children, our students, for primary and for high school. Yes, there might be one or two exceptions where the child has got more of a cultural or a academic bent, if you like. But also we also celebrate. I mean, 3-4 years ago, we had a student at the high school who was sports person of the year, and she was an equestrian. And so that, tells you the heart of the school is that it doesn't have to be we recognize and acknowledge sports that are not core sports of Theodor Herzl. And we participate in all the leagues and the festivals and the tours, from a sporting point of view, but academically too. We will push a student that possibly might be getting a C or a D in another school. We would, with individual pushing and nurturing, get them to reach their potential of maybe a B or whatever, but being the best version of themselves, as Hilary has said.
Yeah, and I've noticed that about Theodor on various levels, but both of you having touched on the sport. In the high school last year, something really quite significant and really quite special happened. It's not just taking part in football or soccer, for example, and not just taking part in the league, whether it be with other Port Elizabeth or Eastern Province or Cape based schools, but you guys went for a Guinness World Record, and I think we can officially say that now.
Yes, it was awarded,
Yes.
indeed.
So what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, that was as a result of our head of sport, Jason Heim, having a vision. And it involved the whole school. Okay, it was a lot of basically high school students, but involved some primary school teachers as well.
Teachers came
along. But the
alongside.
rallying around, so it was essentially almost 4 days. It was 77 hours and 5 or 10 minutes. Of non-stop soccer, and I think it was lessons in action. So true grit, resilience, and also just realizing, hey, if I've got a goal, which the kids had, the students had,
Yeah.
and a vision. I can make it happen. And for me, it was full support, a very unifying, exceptionally unifying moment. And it was just lovely to see everyone coming together. It was very much a community. Parents, at night, 11 o'clock, it was it was 77 uninterrupted hours.
That's over 3 days.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And parents coming at 2 o'clock in the morning, and no, it was a significant moment, and it talks to the schools with heart. There was yes as far as that moment was concerned.
Yeah, I must say what I loved is there were ex-students, there were parents that hadn't been part of the school for 3 years, arriving and coming in and sitting on the grandstands. We had pre-primaries making flags and cheering, and everybody was part of it. It was just such a unifying time, and so special. We just honoured that those students that put in the work actually have been given that accolade after a year of analysis that had to be done.
A phrase that's often been used by our staff is, and it's also will be reflected on various documents, etc., is excellence with head, heart, or heart, head, and hand. And that's the idea there, is that once you've, and that's hence the heart image, once you've emotionally accepted, be it a value or whatever the case might be, you then goes into your head, as it were, and then it's eventually translated into your hands and what you do and what you produce, be it academically, culturally, sport-wise. So there's a link between the head, heart, and the hand, and I think that is certainly is borne out on a daily basis.
Both schools, or I should rather say all three schools, again, we've had various conversations in this vein around open days, and part of those open day conversations sparked us having this online open online evening to create a platform for people to engage, ask any questions that they have with regards to applications or their child wanting to come to Theodor Herzl, whether it be at the pre-primary or the high school. One of the things I've heard both of you say is that applications are open.
Yeah.
And what does that look like, if we may start at the pre-primary and just kind of work our way up to the high school? If we've got parents who are watching or listening who might be on the fence, might be saying, I need to get little Susie in. What's the best way that they can do that, and how do they go about doing that?
Well, they can either email marketing where they're connected with you, alternatively phone in. The pre-primary is a utopia. There is no child that would not love spending the day there.
Yeah.
We recently had 43 pre-primary teachers come to a pre-writing skills workshop, and so many of them said, if you need somebody to work here, just let me know. Come and visit, come and see. Theodor's a feeling. You need to come and walk with me. Just come and visit, take an hour. Have a look. Don't even bring your child yet. Just come and connect, feel the feeling.
Sure.
And then we can take it from there, both for the pre-primary, and they can just ring up, make an appointment. As Victor says, we're extremely accessible most days.
And it's wonderful to hear you talking now. And Sisanda, I see your comment online, and what's quite amazing is you have literally just asked that question. Is it possible to enroll a grade R learner now? How do I do that? How do I become familiar with the environment and the teachers?
You are welcome. Just ring up our pre-primary or drop Dean a line on marketing at theodorherzl.co.za, and we'll ring you up. I look forward to chatting with you and taking you around. That's how we start the process. Then you decide if it's the place you would like your children to, or your child to thrive, and we take it from there. Absolutely. There is still space, as I say, in grade R. We're actually possibly opening a second double naught class because of our enrollment there, but there's definitely space.
I think from a high school point of view, similar. Very much accessible, as we've said. A phone call, phone to Angela Kennedy, my PA, and our admissions officer, and it literally is setting up an interview. And again, there are different ways of slicing and dicing that process. So you come with your child, we have an interview. It's not an entrance exam or an entrance test. It's getting to know, getting a feel, as you say, Hilary, getting a feeling for the school. Gives me a chance to find out a little bit about the family, the family to find out about Theodor and possibly a little bit about me, take them on a tour. And what we also encourage is that if there is a sense of this is a possible school for me, and I do believe that for every child there is a very specific school. I do believe it. It's not and that's also true for Theodor. We are not a one-size-fits-all school either. I mean, that has been said a number of times. What we also encourage is that the child spends a day at the school or 2 days and gets a feel, and that often is then the deciding factor. Okay, this is a school that I really would like to be at, and we then have a little buddy for you for that day. So at the high school, and I think at the primary school too, a little buddy, and that buddy will be making sure that you get to the classes and all that. So it's a relaxed, informal process and non-threatening, no expectations, but fine, talk to us. It's about relationships.
I've got a child coming to visit for the day tomorrow. She's thinking of possibly changing schools, and so she's coming to spend the day with us tomorrow.
And on a more formal level, if we start again at the primary school and go to the high school, grade 1s, and later we'll get to our grade 8s. Grade 1s, applications are open?
Application, we still have space in grade 1. Obviously, we would like the people to contact us, please, as soon as possible. We do a connect with our grade 1 teachers. You obviously fill in the forms, give us your child's last pre-primary report, etc. We make a date and time. Your child will spend, as I say, 45 minutes to an hour with one of our grade 1 teachers, and at that time I'll take the parents around the school, chat. It's important for us to know the family, and that's an ideal opportunity to get to know the family. And then, we take it from there. Orientation evening happens in November, and as well in the pre-primary, there's also an orientation evening. And as soon as the families are ready, we're good to go.
Our grade 7s are slowly all thinking about making the big jump from little ponds to big ponds, is the way we used to think about it. You know, you're the big fish in a small pond going to the big pond, and all of a sudden you're the small fish again. Our grade 8s applications are open. We want to encourage people to contact the school again. Yes, that's absolutely right. We have a few spaces left. We are rapidly filling up and rapidly full. We are soon to be full. So the reality is, if people are still on the fence, as you said earlier, they need to make that appointment and see us. But again, it's a relaxed, informal interview. Obviously, reports are important in the process to see what the child's interests are. It's finding out about the child, and the child feeling whether they can fit in and see their way being at the school. We might ask for a little assessment just to assess them if there's any need that may arise. But certainly, I would welcome applications. There are still a few open in grade 8. Yeah, wonderful. I've heard both of you this evening talking about connection, talking about relationship, what it means to build those relationships and bridges with young people. On a remedial level, Theodor, for me, also really stands out there, doing significant work in the primary school as well as the high school, having a counselling psychologist on the team. Those are some of the day-to-day things that you're dealing with in 2024. What are some of the highlights there for parents who may have some of those questions, concerns about bringing their young child to school?
Can I start in the primary school? Obviously, we have a full-time remedial teacher from grade 1 to 3, and then we have a part-time remedial teacher who comes in twice a week at the moment for grade 4s and 5s. So if a child is battling with language or numeracy, they can go to yes, it's at no cost, and that's part of what we do. There's also, at the time that the children are going to these extra the sport or drama and and board games, there is an opportunity at the end of every day where the teacher has half an hour available. So if somebody's battling with something specific on a specific day, those teachers have that opportunity. We call it didactic aid. They have the opportunity to connect with that child then. And it's been truly wonderful having our educational psychologist with us in terms of if children are battling with emotional issues. She's come into classes and dealt with things. The world is a weird space, and so we're continually dealing with new things. And she's just been a huge support. Also advising our teachers and advising me when it comes to dealing with sort of social and emotional things that we've possibly never dealt with before.
Yeah, the high school, we have a full-time counselling psychologist at the high school. So certainly often an emotional issue or an emotional problem will manifest in possibly poor academic results. And so that support, first of all, on an emotional and social level, is hugely invaluable. And we are finding the reality is children, there's a lot of anxiety around. It's not peculiar to us, it's a societal thing. But also therefore academic support. So, I mean, children, as an independent school, and state schools would have it too, there are accommodations, which means that if a child's got a learning difficulty, there are accommodations that are provided by the IEB. So we write the independent examination board at the high school. We follow that curriculum. And those accommodations, be it a scribe or a facilitator or
extra time
or whatever, spelling, etc., those are all provided. But again, it talks to the small class. We provide that individual support. Also every morning, maths and science from 7:45 until until 8:20. In fact, from 7 o'clock, both our maths teachers are there giving free of charge extra math support for students arriving from 7 o'clock onwards to 7:45. At 7:45 till 8:20, there's another teacher that gives. We have a special period every morning, which is devoted to science, maths, and extra maths as well, where specific children can go. So there is a lot of support that's available for students who are battling academically. And obviously neurodiversity is a reality as well, and that's also very much nurtured and looked after and integrated into the schools. So
nurtured and looked after, I think, are some words that really highlight and encapsulate some of the ethos and the core values of Theodor. It's not just take it for 1 mile, go the extra mile.
Exactly right.
And I've seen that play out in the relationships with the staff and the teachers. I've seen that play out with the young people at the school. I've seen that play out on the sports field, whether it's culturally, in the drama with the music, having put on plays. We didn't even get into that side of the cultural experience.
Theodor was known for that.
At Theodor, whether it's field band or the drama. Macbeth that was put on earlier on in the year. But I think as a 30-minute conversation, I think we've really given people a good bite-sized chunk to chew on when contemplating schools for their children. As an elevator pitch, if we could attempt to, in 1 or 2 sentences, as we close off this evening, to go back to what we were saying earlier, if there are people who are on the fence, what would you hope would be their takeaway from this evening? Hilary, if I may start with you.
Theodor, it's a feeling. You need to come and experience it, and you will feel it. I think they start off in grade 1, and they're told only kindness happens here, and if they make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. And I think those are 2 sort of, we're a heart school. We live by our hearts, and it's a wonderful place to be.
It would sound cheesy for me to say I echo absolutely what you say, and I do. Absolutely, it's about kindness, and that word is a key word for me. But I think that touches my core takeaway, if you like, for tonight is it is all about relationships, and whether that's relationships with staff amongst themselves, but staff and children, staff and parents, parents and children, that's what we work on, that's what we're about. And as you say, it is about the heart. And I would like to believe that that's what we're about. It is about the heart, and relationships for me are key. If the relationships are in place, everything else falls into place.
Wonderful. Yeah. Mr. Kurz, Mrs. Goldberg, thank you so much for your time, for making yourselves available this evening for this conversation. And really thank you for joining us online. It really was wonderful to engage in this conversation. I hope that it was meaningful. I hope that you learned something. And I hope that it touched your heart in one way or another to take the next step, whether it be contacting the school office to inquire about admissions, whether it's finding out about some of the extramural activities, whether it's be on the stage or in the music department or on the sports field. We hope that you would contact Theodor Herzl pre-primary school, primary school as well as high school to find out a little bit more about this year, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, 2025.
Yeah, indeed.
We are gearing, 2025. Can't believe this year is just about flown by. So this evening, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It really was wonderful to spend some time with you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.